This video is kindly brought to you by Squarespace. My inbox has over 3,000 unread emails. Once I attempted to do a spring cleaning there, but failed. My phone stores around 5,000 images, and not that I think that I need them all, but the chore of sorting them out is terrifying, and I keep postponing it. The other day, in a grocery store, I got a notification about suspicious activity in my Google account, recommending that I should change my password as soon as possible, and that was stressful. I spent at least an hour and a half immersed in that issue. First rushing back home instead of taking my time and enjoying the walk, then running a full computer check, changing the freaking password, updating other passwords, and putting everything down in my password book. Those are just a couple of examples of a new type of chores, emotional, digital, and cognitive burdens that are so ingrained into our existence that we stop recognizing them as labor and mistake them for living. In this video, I invite you to have a look at this new type of chores that deprive us of tiny little bits of free time, why they cause so much stress and burnout, who benefits from it, and what we can do instead, what is an accessible alternative. Please remember that here I voice only my personal, very subjective opinion and experience that can be completely different from yours, and it's totally fine to be different. So here are the tasks that we really flag as chores, as labor, but it is very important to recognize them as such. Organizing cloud storage, deleting spam, updating passwords, managing subscriptions. Each task is small, but together they form a second shift almost. I personally feel more drained by them than by cleaning my bathroom, for example, and things to add here are the following. Suppressing reactions to maintain professional or social standing, and in the current political climate, this is a real struggle for many, me including. Researching health symptoms to compensate for inaccessible medical care, curating our digital identities after all. Yes, this chore is real, and these days certain job opportunities are impossible to reach if you don't have a decent social media presence and also following. When we are scrolling through social media or YouTube, we are performing content moderation for the algorithm. When we go to a streaming platform we pay for, say Netflix, we are making mental effort to choose, and often abandoning the decision and exhaustion, a phenomenon that is known as streaming fatigue. Even with sleep we have to work, we are encouraged to track, optimize, and judge its efficiency. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls this the burnout society, a world where we exploit ourselves voluntarily, convinced that if we just manage our lives correctly, we'll finally earn the right to rest. But the system is designed to make it impossible. The new maintenance work fragments attention, making deep focus nearly impossible. The cognitive scientist Gloria Mark calls this attention residue. Every unchecked notification, every unread email, every pending decision lingers in the mind, inevitably slowing it down, like too many background processes slow down a computer. This is why after a day of doing nothing, you can feel more exhausted than after a day of physical labor. Unlike physical labor, cognitive labor doesn't leave any visible marks, just a vague suspicion that you've been working all day without getting anything done. What I've noticed in myself that most often I get exhausted not from doing the work, but from planning and organizing it before and after the actual process of working. Over-planning creates an illusion of getting things done, but it's just an illusion and nothing more. And I'm doing my best to reduce this over-planning, but on many occasions I feel like I'm drowning. So who benefits from all the unseen labor and personal admin that we cannot get away from completely? The answer is simple, and probably you already know it. It's big tech and those in power. I don't want to sound like a pessimistic alarmist or conspiracy theorist. It's nothing new. Tools have been changing, but the situation remains the same. If there is any chance to increase profits and exploit others under the disguise of benevolence, this chance is always used. When people are drained by the invisible labor of personal admin, they have less energy left for deeper inquiry, collective action, and even personal reflection. The biggest trick that the system has pulled is convincing us that the main problem lies in our inability to keep up and not in the absurdity of the demand itself. So, what is the alternative? For us, ordinary people who cannot afford to go live in the woods, who need money to survive, who have responsibilities, who are caregivers, or depend on the system too much to visibly and loudly rebel against it. There are two things here that we can do. The first is gentle neglect. Yes, not better time management or optimization. I bet that many of you who have tried this time management before or are trying now don't see a substantial relief. At least I don't. So my response to the heap of urgent personal admin tasks is to gently neglect them and also embrace the good enoughness. The concept of a good enough anything. I've talked about it in one of my previous videos. I let emails accumulate and I don't force myself to do everything at once. I do unsubscribe regularly, but I do admit that probably it will be always impossible to avoid any types of subscriptions. It is important to understand and acknowledge what makes you feel good and what doesn't. Not every notification needs your reaction. Not every text or email deserves your reply. The pursuit of optimization is a trap. Now I don't track anything other than my period and also my migraines. I need those for health. I don't track my steps or workouts or sleep or mood. I refuse to be a self-optimization machine and to take more chores than my mental capacity allows. And the second thing is monotasking, doing one thing at a time. If I'm honest, I'm still struggling with reclaiming this skill completely. I am very anxious naturally, and I get this urge to juggle different types of things, of learning, reading, writing, elaborating new ideas, listening, self-reflecting, and at the same time trying to figure out the way to earn a living in order to survive. It's a process, and I'm doing my best to address my restlessness in a soft way. I always admire people who say that they've mastered the art of monotasking and focusing their attention. I haven't completely, and I don't see any shame in admitting it. For a restless, anxious, and highly sensitive mind, monotasking can be an act of defiance against the nervous system that is wired to always scan for threats and stimuli. Distraction can be felt more acutely, and there is no your or my personal fault in that. So try to go gently with yourself. After all, the chores will never end, but you don't have to make them all yours. And now it's time to thank Squarespace for kindly sponsoring this video and making such meaningful conversations possible. You can build a website that truly reflects your vision with Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that combines cutting-edge design with effortless functionality. Whether you're launching a blog, portfolio, or online store, Squarespace's sleek templates and intuitive tools make it easy to create something extraordinary. Plus, secure a professional online presence with a Squarespace domain, seamlessly integrated for a polished finish. With built-in analytics and 24/7 support, you will have everything you need to grow. If you think it's time to build your own website, head to squarespace.com/Anna Goldberg for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use my code Anna Goldberg to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I will be very interested in reading your opinions, so let's have a conversation in the comments. What you think about all these new invisible chores and how they are taking our free time away and what can be done about it, maybe some of your personal tips and tricks. Let's share. Thank you so much for your time, attention, and support of my work, dear friends. For now, as always, be safe and keep your heart open, and I will see you soon. Пока-пока.